Alright, in the previous video we got up to this particular action where the next action was to implement the file method, the view, so you could view the contents of the file. So here we're going to take the action to enhance your logger class. Notice we're going to add an additional import, the java.util.star. So we'll need that because we're going to access a list that's inside of there. Notice for our view, since this is dealing with files, the view method once again has the try and the catch. And we see that in our try, we're going to go to the files dot read all lines. So by saying read all lines and giving it the path, notice we're using the standard character set of UTF-8. That one line will return to us as a list of strings. Right, so we know that we wrote earlier, the idea is we write each string, each message to a separate line. So this will read them all and put them into this list of string. So we have that variable called lines, and then in our for loop we say for a line in the lines, and the idea is we go through each one and we do a print line to show the contents of that line. Of course, if we have an exception, we'll catch it and we'll print out the exception. So we go ahead and enter that code and do a Java C to compile the Logger.java. Well, we can enhance our Logger test class now because previously when we put our Logger tester, we did not have a test of this view method. So since we've added it, we'll add a system.out.println, say testing the view, and do the logger.view so we can test and see how it works. So at that point we'll rerun the logger test, and we see that when we do our logger test we see indeed we've got the hello world that was put in there as part of this test code that we're running. And we see that we do indeed view it. Well, we got us another milestone, right? We got us some code changes, so we'll go ahead and commit those. If you do a get status, you can see what files you have changed. And of course, we see the Logger.java and the LoggerTester.java have changed. So we do the get add of both Logger.java and the LoggerTester.java. And then we do the get commit -m for the message saying added the view method, which is the work we did during this particular commit. Okay, we're making progress. We now need to add a command line interface to Logger.java because after all, so far we've had our methods implemented and we've tested them with our Logger tester, but we still need to put a command line interface, a CLI, on the Logger.java. So let's do that. We'll take the action to enhance the Logger class. Notice we're going to have now a public static void main. And in this, we're going to have our string array that gets passed into us as args. We'll immediately create an instance of Logger. Notice we create an instance of our Logger class. We check and see if the args.length is equal to 0. And if that's the case, we know you didn't enter anything on the command line, so we call Logger.help. Else, if the length was not equal to 0, then our else is if the args of 0, so we're wanting to see the first arg you typed in, if it's equals to --delete. So if you are asking for us to delete the file, then we do logger.delete, which we had written earlier and tested earlier. Else, if the args of 0 is equals to --view, then we call the logger.view. Else, if args of 0 is equals to --log, then we know that if it equals --log, we're looking for another parameter, which will be the length of that parameter. So we'll say, or pardon me, it'll be the message we want to write to the log. So we check to see args.length does not equal to 2 because we're expecting to have 2 arguments, right? We're expecting to have the command, which is --log, and we're expecting to have the message as the second argument. So if that is not true, if args.length does not equal 2, then we say logger.help. Else, if it did equal 2, then we're going to say logger.log, send in arguments of 1. We know the index goes 0 and 1, so we say args of 1 to pass that in. And else, the final else, if none of the above had worked, then we'll simply display the help. So at that point, we can use the logger. We can actually run it and see what happens. So at the top, we just type Java logger. And of course, since we don't have any command line parameters, it shows our help. We can also do Java logger -- view. And notice the first time we do it, hey, we catch this exception, java.nio.file.nosuchfile exception, logger.log, which makes sense because right now we haven't yet written to that file using this program. So then we say java logger.log read, and we put that in there, and then we do a Java logger -- view, and sure enough we see the reds in there. And then we decide to put another log in there. We say Java logger -- log green, and at this point, when we do the Java logger -- view at the bottom, whoa, we have a little minor bug. We do see red and green, but we were expecting to have red on one line and green on the other line. So we actually have a bug in the program, and the bug is we were not putting a new line character at the end of the log. When we wrote each log, we should have put a new line at the end. So we have to enhance our logger class to fix that bug. And notice we add just modifier where we do the files.write. We now take the message just like we originally had, but now we're going to concatenate a \n. So a \n is the new line character. So we concatenate that onto the system, and then we do dot get bytes, the standard character set of UTF-8. So previously, the one that had the bug, we just did that on message, but here we're typing message and adding to it a \n. Okay, so we take action to use logger again. I begin by saying Java logger -- delete, so that removes the previous file that we had there. Then I do the Java -- log red, and followed by Java logger -- log green. And to see that we got our bug fixed, I do a Java logger -- view, and sure enough, we see the red and the green. So we got our bug fixed. Well, we're ready to commit some changes now. We got pretty much everything working, so we'll do a get status. What did we change this time? Well, we changed the Logger.java, so we'll do a get add of Logger.java, and then we'll do a get commit -m saying we added the CLI to Logger, that is, we added the command line interface. Should be feeling pretty good about your interview at this point. In fact, you can give a summary of all the work you've done for this interview. You can do the get log, and it'll give a summary of all the commits that you did, going from the most recent all the way down to the first one. And we see our most recent was add CLI to Logger. We see we did an add view command, our method. We added log and delete method. We implemented the help method. We added method stubs. And of course, we began everything by saying the initial commit. So at this point, you should feel very good about what you've got, and this would be what you submit for this particular one, that you've got it all ready to go, and you're all done. So again, make sure your code is matching what we've got here, and make sure you submit the final code that you've got for grading. I'm Norman McIntyre. Thanks as always for watching.